Good evening. Na 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 na. Good evening, everybody. I'm not crying. That's amazing after earlier. So hello, girls. Hello over in Sierra Leone. I hope it stopped raining because it was raining really badly last night. So your signal was going in and out. Basically, I'm Rachel Eagling, and I'm Eagle's wife, and we collectively run Punk for the Homeless. We're Christian anarchists and have been ordained in refuge ministries over there in America. So, without further ado, I had a thought about this poem the other night, and I thought about how to change it and make it better. So, we'll see what you lot think. The NHS is very dear to my heart, and for the girls in Sierra Leone, a long time ago in our country, it was decided to have a national health service that is funded by the population. So basically we pay money, which is called national insurance, and that allows us to get any healthcare we need. And it was born on the idea of it costing nothing, and the fact that people were seen on the basis of their need rather than their wealth. Sadly, at that time, the dentists seemed to have got their own way and went on one side. But we have got a national health service. And so nice to meet people from different countries who talk of losing homes because they got breast cancer or because their child was run over and left disabled. And fortunately, I think for all of us, we don't have that as our reality. So I wrote a poem quite a while ago, and it's about the NHS. But like I say, I'm going to elaborate a tiny bit. This is to the NHS. Count the ways I love you if you can. I love you in any day that begins with a tea trolley and a smile. I love you when I'm admitted in the middle of the night as my baby starts to come. My waters break and you say, get your bag, come in. You can go home later. But when I get there, there is no later. The midwife is calm as she talks it all over with me and eases my labour and my fears. I love you when my 2-year-old slams the car door on his thumb and it's Boxing Day and I really don't know what to do. And so we head to the hospital 100 miles an hour and we get there and you have to have your nail removed in wards where the walls are painted red and yellow and green, and Bob is still building on the telly. And I pin you down while they pull your nail out of your thumb. I love you. When you close the door and you say, my dad's not got long to live. And tears come into your eyes as you hold my hand and you stay late just to ease his passing. And I love you. When in pain, my nephew gets an ambulance in the dead of night and is rushed into surgery. And I love you so much that I'm going to fight. And I'll scream and I'll march with sore feet if necessary, so that I don't have to tell my grandchildren in a hushed voice that we let them take our national health service as we show them around museums where photographs and articles talk of a national coal board long since gone and a national railway service barely even remembered. I will fight. So solidarity with our friends, a lot of whom work in the National Health Service. A lot of them are worried. They're scared that the national conversation is not one of truth. And so I'm just going to sing you a song. This is a Watty Riot song, and I usually sing it, and I sing it a cappella. I'm tired of ignorance, and I'm tired of hate, and I'm tired of justice turning up too fucking late. I'm tired of racism when all is black and white. And I'm tired of hearing another victim die tonight. Whoa, 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 whoa. Some get lost in suicide, homicide and genocide. I can't find a place to hide. There's screaming in my mind. And I'm tired of freedom being enjoyed by the few. When will they listen to a different point of view? So many warmongers who love to kill the peace, and so many soldiers die in wars that never cease. Whoa, 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 whoa. Some get lost in suicide, homicide and genocide, and I can't find a place to hide. There's screaming in my mind, and I'm tired of drug dealers taking people's lives. And I'm sick of guns, and yeah, I'm sick of, I'm tired of murderers, of killers on the run. And I'm tired of people spoiling other people's fun. Whoa, 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 whoa. Some get lost in suicide, homicide and genocide, and I can't find a place to hide. There's screaming in my mind. It's just ignorance, 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 whoa, ignorance. So, hi Watty. That's my version of one of Watty's tracks. Now, I've worked with homeless people for a long time, for like 30 years, and I write a lot of poems about them. Sometimes I don't use their names, sometimes I just talk about them vaguely. But one of them's this, and it says, ghosts, they haunt my dreams as I recall the lost, the dead, and the desperate. And yet I still smile as I walk back in my mind to a hall filled with metal beds, no curtains, no dignity, 2 showers for 50 people, and a queue to secure a much sought after bed. And yet, all these years later, a new government decides to close the beds, limit the access. Please, don't let us return to the deaths in the doorways. And I'm so saddened when I look at America and I see people sleeping in football stadiums or people still sleeping on the streets. I'm so worried when I look at senators shutting down tent camps, and the question has to be bagged to where? Where do you want them to go? And I find it quite ironic, really, that homeless people in the UK are predominantly now housed. And the reason they're housed is because they can infect us. So we can't go about our daily business without being around them, because you can tell me for forever, really, that they care about their lives. And unfortunately, I don't agree with you. For 30 years, I've worked with the vulnerable and the lost people of our community, the forgotten people. And I can tell you something for nothing. They have so much talent and so much care and so much love for one another that it's embarrassing. When I worked in the night shelter, and people would rush to help the old man with sticks or offer to carry a bag for you. You see the humanity. And for too long now, homeless services have said that workers shouldn't accept things off clients. But when it comes to a mint, I really genuinely feel it's important that people feel that they can contribute, that they can be part of something. And it's wonderful to see the girls sing and watch them clap, because that's their part of this gig, because they're as much part of this gig as you, as me, and that's what matters. But I wrote this. This is called Last Year's Punk, and it's about a gig, and it's called Last Year's Punk. In no longer smoky halls we stand, beer in hand at night, eardrums ringing as left and right, spiked coloured plumage keeps the noise alive. In a world where conformists, well, they now sport pink hair and tattoos. And I think there's a quite important message to me. Once upon a time, if you stood against things and you stood together, then you knew something about that other person. If they had different coloured hair or the way they spoke was different and they liked certain kinds of music, that is no longer the case, because most children I know want to have pink or blue hair. And Eagle always regales people with the fact that in 1977 he got beaten up a lot for being a punk, and nowadays old ladies stop him in the supermarket and they talk about dart players or some random person from America, and they want to stroke his hair, which is fine by me. Eagle has hundreds of old lady groupies. I think the less said the better. So as the girls are watching, I thought I'd sing you a bit of a song, and it's a song from my childhood. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mists in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and bought him string and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. Oh, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mists in a land called Honolulu. Together they would travel on a boat with billowed sail, and Jackie kept a lookout perched on Puff's gigantic tail. Noble kings and princes would bow whene'er they came, and pirate ships would lower their flag when Puff roared out his name. Oh, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. A dragon lives forever but not so little boys. Painted wings and giant rings make way for other toys. And one grey night it happened, Jackie Paper came no more, and Puff the mighty dragon, he ceased his fearless roar. Oh, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. His head was bent in sorrow. Oh. Green scales fell like rain. Puff no longer went to play along the cherry lane without his lifelong friend. Puff could not be brave, so Puff, the mighty dragon, sadly slipped into his cave. Oh, Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Thank you. I like singing. I suppose I like it because my dad sang. My mum was so embarrassed. She used to hide outside with her fingers in her ears, and it wasn't that he couldn't sing, and it wasn't that he couldn't entertain people, but she really just didn't get it, and she found it embarrassing to watch us perform. But poetry's always really meant something to me. I wrote a poem when I was a little girl, and it was about fox hunting, and I was about, what, 12, 13? And it goes like this. They blood the child that's never been to a race meeting before, and the irony they've never seen is Mother Nature's score. For she marks it down on a board of black with chalk as white as snow. And the people laugh and they become slack, because the score they'll never know, until that is the day they die and the gates of heaven are shut. They become a fox and they return to earth for a dog to eat their gut. Eagle just suddenly realised he is allowed to clap as well as be in the room. You're barking, husband. Woo, 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 woo. Right, let me get some more stuff out. And let me show you Little Eagle, shall I? This was made by a wonderful friend of ours who is our adopted daughter. Her name is Tracy Davis. I think she's gone back to Davis. And she said, I've knitted you a present. And I said, what have you knitted me that I can't knit myself? And she knitted me a miniature husband. And I think Eagle thinks it's always his fault. And it's not, is it? Is it that Eagle? Can't help himself, can he? So, without further ado, let's find some more stuff. I found something while I was getting ready, and they kind of go together. So, a lot of my poetry is because I get very upset by life. If somebody on the news says a plane crashed yesterday, I can cry for hours, because to me every single person on that plane matters, and I can't believe that they're already onto the weather and I'm still thinking, what do you mean? Like, that's somebody's baby. What do you mean? So when things happen that confuse me or stress me or upset me, I write them down, and hopefully they mean something to you as well. This poem is called Glimpses, and it's number 1. The car's not working and it's raining. So I get the bus and you get on. Stepping stone children, wet. 2 young girls giggling, umbrellas sodden. Teenage boy, waterproof jacket and hood. And your bright red hair lifts the gloom of the rain. As your girls run to the back. The boy sits at the front while you stand. Meltdown! He screams at you. He wants his sister's umbrella. But without sighing, you calmly explain he threw his in the garden and he's got a hood. He eyes your umbrella like a Tory and he tells you to give it to him and you decline. He continues to scream. He kicks out and he connects. He punches and it connects. And you calmly and without sighing ask him not to. The chatter on the bus slows to nothing but the noise of his feet and his fists, kicking the flesh that bore him with such hope and loves him still. The only voice other than yours is the computerized voice that announces the stops. And the wheels on the bus go round and round. Your face matches your hair with the shame. And you reach out, not to those of us on the bus, but by mobile, albeit briefly, as that onslaught continues. And the wipers on the bus go swish, swish, swish. Wipers wiping away the salty rain. As he strikes and he kicks, he pleads and he punches. He punches the window on the bus for a reaction. Bang! Everyone jumps. Reaction achieved. Mum apologises to the driver. I decide to get up early for my stop. Purposefully, I stand between mother and son. I smile and I say how beautiful your hair is. And you reassure me that he will not strike me. He's not long had his meds. He's a good boy, really. But how does she record this on her PIP form to faceless bureaucrats to defend her right for help as I step from the bus into the rain? Right, Eagle wants me to sing a song, and it's a really old song, and it's something I wrote a long time ago. And I don't know how discussed this is in Sierra Leone, so you'll have to forgive me. But it's basically about periods, and the fact is half of the world have them. So it's time we got over it, and it's time we stopped having adverts with blue water. And it's time that we stopped Conservative politicians sitting in the House of Commons, because when it was last debated, somebody said something about, oh, well, it's like shaving. Well, you can shave and you can grow a beard. If I bleed on all your bus seats, I think you might see it slightly differently. And as I've just reached a point in my life where I no longer do that thing, hopefully, yay! There aren't many bonuses to getting old. That's one of them. So I wrote a song a long time ago and it goes like this. There is a time in every month just before I come on, where tension mounts and tempers fray. So I sing this PMT song. My mother has to calm me down when I can't get in my jeans. It happens to women from Brixton, to women in New Orleans. Sex and shopping are tiresome when your brain feels full of lead. My husband, he shouts for his dinner, but it's burnt, so I kick him instead. So you men, you must show pity, like we do when you're under strain. You're not allowed to be shitty when you're suffering from PMT pain. Thank you. Take care. God bless you.